Welcome back to the Masters of Recon podcast, your top automotive refinishing podcast with your hosts, Corey Kleinfeld
and Ryan Brewer. Enjoy the show, everyone.
How you guys doing today?
Another day in paradise.
We're great.
Good. We'll finally getting some nice weather here. Business is starting out. So
no more snow.
No more snow. Today was around 60 degrees. I'll take it.
Nice.
You gotta cherish that.
Yeah, for sure. We had a cold, snowy winter. Basically, just January and February were pretty cold and snowy this year. We haven't had that in a while.
So, you said business picked up?
Yeah, probably like since soon as March hit. As soon as we started getting our first 50-degree day, and all of a sudden the phone starts ringing.
And so, how much are you guys gonna have to start paying for Restore FX with all these tariffs?
I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Hopefully they get this thing settled because we just had Ryan just got a package delivered to see, like, do a test run to see if it was going to get charged anything, and I followed up today, and apparently it didn't. And then Dave placed an order that's supposed to be delivered on Monday. So I need to order some stuff too. So I've been just kind of waiting to see. I don't know if I need to do a big order before April 2nd. I'm sure it's all going to get settled. It's just a matter of, our biggest problem is we don't have a leader right now. They're going to do an election. So Trump's just waiting to pounce. He's pouncing on the opportunity, right?
Pretty much. That's kind of his jam, I feel like.
Yeah, but you know what?
And talking a lot of shit.
I wish we had, a leader that's wanting to do for his country like Trump wants to do for his country. So,
well, hey, we could
hate it or love it.
We could purchase Canada. Come to the dark side.
Come to the dark side.
For
It
sure.
better be a purchase. I better not see any freaking troops up in there, dude. That'd be insane.
Nah,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But who knows?
They'll get it.
What's that?
I said I'm sure they'll get it figured out.
Yep.
How's business for you guys?
Doing good, man.
Yeah, cranking away.
Good.
So we got Manny, Edgar, and Mauricio. I don't know which Edgar that is. I think it's Edgar out of Santa Rosa if he wants to chime in.
I wish they would put these when they do this chat. They would put the centers on there too. It would make it a lot easier to figure out who's from where.
Oh yeah, we could request that. I think you can go. Can you rename it mid? I don't think. Yeah, you can rename. Mine says Coach Corey K. So I could do Restore FX Sacramento. I can just click on the three dots, click rename, and then that should change mine right there.
I'll do that too.
Yeah. It might be harder on the iPhone. I don't know. I'm on a desktop, but yeah, if you want to put where there you go. Mauricio's listening. He was here last time too. Hopefully we get some more people. We'll see. We're trying to increase the participation over the months, but we'll get started here in a few minutes as people trickle in. But Manny, you want to say hi? You're muted though, buddy. You're muted, Manny.
Okay, here I am. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm on. I'm gonna stay as long as I can. I got some people coming to the house tonight, so I don't know what time they'll get here.
That's all good, man. If you can join us for a little while, that's great. More the merrier.
I will be here.
What's up, Coach?
That is Edgar. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
How you doing? Just doing my
Not
thing,
bad,
man. It's
man.
been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Welcome,
what the Zoom
dude.
is about, but I was like, you know what? It's been a
you're
minute,
here.
man. Let me learn something.
Yeah. We're talking about the sales process and then shop flow. We might even get into commission structures. It's all about being more efficient, and we're getting basically instead of just the podcast of us talking at people, we're trying to get some opinions. I'm sure Pete will give some insight. I think we have a couple of people on. Did you text Austin too, Ryan? See if he's gonna roll up. Anyways, but yeah, join for what you can. And we'll go from there. But thanks for coming, Edgar.
Oh, awesome. Thank you guys, man. Thanks for putting this on. I'm sure I'll learn something.
Yeah. And then I'll post it if you missed some, I'll post it on the Master Recon feed too later. Obviously, everything is up there eventually.
Cool.
Dan, who's Dan? This is probably Dan.
Dan Rikiki?
It might be Dan Rikiki. Or it might be Dan Nolter. Not sure.
Nope.
Dan Restore FX. Dan Rikiki. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, man?
How you doing? Hey, change your name to Dan Restore FX, what? Upstate New York or something like that? I don't know.
Rochester, yeah.
Rochester. I don't know that area. That's too far away from me.
Uh-huh.
People think Sacramento and LA are close, so.
Right.
Anyways, I'm gonna get started because it's all recorded anyways, and if you guys feel free to jump in, you can click your little button to raise your hand down there. We'll call on you. We're basically want to take all the feedback from everybody, and we all want to get better. Ryan and I know a lot. We run decent businesses, but we're not dumb enough to think we're the only one that know how to run a productive shop. So instead of just talking at you guys, we want to talk with you, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this. So by popular demand, we had people request to talk about sales process and shop flow. And so those kind of two different subjects, but they work together. So I'm just going to kick it off by basically starting. There's Austin too. I'm going to kick it off by basically starting with what I have as a shop flow, a sales process. And I'll go through that, and I'll just go through that whole thing quick, and then we can ask specific questions, or if you guys want to amend anything or change anything, that's great. And this goes for literally anything you're selling, in my opinion, in a shop environment, whether that's PDR, Restore FX, ceramic coatings, whatever, PPF. And everyone here, pretty much everyone has a shop. I don't know if Edgar does, to be honest, but I don't think you do, Edgar. But anyways, regardless, you pull up to their house. You can translate into that. So I'm always gonna basically classify it in three different categories. Basically, no, maybe, and yes. So someone pulls up to the shop, whether we've talked to them beforehand or not, we're looking at it. If it's a no, then I'm just going to tell them like, hey, it's not something we can repair. This is something that's beyond our scope or whatever. Whether it's Restore FX and there's paint peeling off of it, or it's PDR and it needs to go to a body shop or whatever. So not a candidate, I'm always going to offer solutions. So I want to give them, hey, I can't fix this, but here's who can. Obviously that will always come back to you with dividends, with people trusting you as a trusted source. I just had a message come through asking, hey, who do you guys know that does windshield replacements? And so we'll message him when he needs something from us, he'll come back to us. So always having a solution and a referral network is great. If it's straightforward, like a yes, we can do it. I'm going to measure as far as dents go or Restore FX. We're going to assess the damage. We're going to give them we're going to put the factors into into Mobile-Tech RX, which is we use for all of our pricing, and then give them a price. If those ones are home runs, I always like to try to get to the end of that sales process quick and then book appointments. If it's complex or we're at the maybe zone, then I'm always going to pull them into the shop. I think Pete and other guys that live in areas with snow and severe weather, that's probably common practice to 100% of the time pull it in the shop because it's probably bad weather outside, I would assume. And so number one, I'm always going to get them into the shop so we can discuss that damage together. And when you guys have a nice shop, just bringing them into the shop does sell them on that process. So clean the panel, light up the panel, measure damage if it's a PDR, and then try to sell them on the process. So those are that's kind of how I think about my sales process there. Ryan, you want to add anything to that? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
You were talking fast.
Yeah, I talk fast.
I do want to add, I know we've talked about this before. It's like beating dead horse, but if you're not using a CRM, like that's the first part of our sales tactic here at DenPro is before we even qualify this person as a yes, maybe, or no. It's the information we want first, right? So with our CRM process, we have a form we have them on iPads, so we can hand 3 and 4 people iPads at the same time, and they can fill out all their information. And we put sales tactics inside that form that actually does selling for us, which would be for insurance claims, right? Like most people don't even know that we can take care of insurance claims on a PDR side. So we're able to get all the information, first name, last name, phone number, email address, and then what services they are here for. Then that's telling them that we actually do more services than they thought or knew that we did.
That's good. Yeah.
The next portion is an insurance claim. We get all the insurance information, claim number, deductible, insurance company, all that stuff. So that way, whenever we give them Paul Corden prices, we should all be using a Paul Corden price guide. We think that those prices are kind of like high because we're dent guys, right? So with that, whenever you're giving somebody an estimate for $2,000 and $3,000, their first reaction years ago for us was, man, that's crazy, right? That's insane. I thought I was coming here to get a dent popped out. But because they saw the insurance claim information in the form, we automatically open up the conversation to insurance claims, and we've been able to convert people from paying out of pocket to insurance claims like an insane amount since last year when we implemented that.
So this is basically an iPad at the front. Someone walks in and you said, "Hey, just fill out the form real quick." Like
yeah,
doctor's
so
office.
I'll have to post a video, but how I built the form through Go High Level. So that way, whenever they fill the form out, Go High Level is the CRM that we use here. And I recommend everybody to get that. That's great. And I think Corey has some stuff going on with Shop Launch, and that should be linking up with Mobile Tech RX soon. So it'll all be great.
I'll pause you real quick. We had a meeting on that today, and Mobile Tech RX and Go High Level are supposed to be integrating within the next couple of weeks. I had a meeting today with the owner of Shop Launch to basically figure out some of the more specifics on that. And that, as far as like sales process, shop flow, that's gonna be very important because basically everything is going to happen inside of Mobile Tech RX. So once you create an estimate, turn it into a work order, turn it into an invoice, close the invoice, it's going to trigger things inside the CRM system to automatically update the customer. So that's going to be really, really cool stuff.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Because I just got the link to be a beta tester for the Zapier connection, so I can start working that into Go High Level. But if Shop Launch is going to do that, and I'm using High Level today, that might be save myself a step.
Yeah, Zapier integration is not easy. I got the beta test too, and I looked at it and I was like, this is above me. I'm out. I'm not even trying. Seriously, I don't know that. I'm a dent guy at heart.
This is right up Ryan. This is right up Austin's.
I know.
Do justice for all of us.
I just signed up for Mobile Tech RX for January, like the beginning of the year, for Restore FX, and so I'm anxious to see what the CRM, what's going to be the.
Are you using a CRM now?
I'm not.
I'm missing the boat.
Yeah. So basically. Yeah, the reason they're doing this, I hooked the Shop Launch guys and the Mobile Tech RX guys up like a year or two ago. They've been working on it, but basically, we're trying to just improve the sales process and shop flow. I mean, realistically. So basically, have you used Mobile Tech RX, Pete, a decent amount, or scanned some stuff in there, or made estimates?
Yeah, we use it for everything, wholesale and retail now. So. Yeah. We got an iPad, just like what Ryan was saying at the front.
Yeah.
And for anybody that comes in through the front door, we create an estimate right away, just to get all their information.
Mm.
And
that's cool.
We have it in the system for if they have come back in 6 months or whatever. Like we have the price that we quoted them in that. But as far as the CRM goes, I didn't get to Mobile Tech this year. But last year we tried inquiring a little bit more about it at Mobile Tech, and I don't know enough about it. You know, you kind of hear everybody's got their own opinion on, oh, you should use this, you should use that. And I came I left there even more confused there when I got
Yeah, for sure.
excited that at least Mobile Tech's working on something with. I've heard everybody's talking high level, so it's kind of, it sounds like the one that's
Yeah,
going.
we'll have to do a maybe the next meeting or a couple meetings from now, we'll do one where we'll physically show y'all screen sharing of us how we use it, and that'll adopt well with the workflow and sales flow, right? Because we use it for
Yeah.
both. Like I use my CRM for a sales flow and for workflow at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's getting it set up is the hardest thing, and then after that, it's just driving the vehicle, right? It's just everything does its own stuff, depending on what you want. So I think that the CRM for us is the biggest part of our sales flow, to be honest. Like, I don't care if they qualify or don't qualify. I want the information. And then
Right.
CRM is going to do a lot of justice for us to say, hey, you came in for a dent. I apologize that we couldn't fix it. It's got all these messages, right, that we send out. And then at the end of it, it says, look, if you go to a body shop to get your car repaired, give us a shout after you finish doing that because your car is a great candidate for Restore Effects. And then it'll automatically send them what Restore Effects is video from YouTube. Like all those things automatically sell for us without having to physically talk to somebody. So again, by the time they call, they're pretty much, they know what they want, they know what the stuff is, they're willing to schedule it. And at first the customer came in as a no-go, right? We weren't going to do business. But because of the system and the flow that we have with it, it drums more business, especially if you're adding more services to your company, right?
That's great. Now, what's a monthly cost for?
Man, I think I pay like $85 for Go High Level.
$300 or something.
Yeah, it's like $300 a month for shop launch specifically.
Shop launch, yeah, because with shop launch, you don't have to build it. I built Go High Level from scratch myself, which I don't recommend anybody doing that because it's like, I stayed up for weeks straight for hours, diving into that when you can pay the money up front, have shop launch build the CRM for you, and you just drive it.
Yeah, so Go High Level is a large CRM system that big companies will use, but basically Shop Launch is essentially someone who used the Go High Level platform and pared it down to make it work for us. It was originally for mechanic shops, and then he tweaked it for PDR shops, and now it's tweaked for reconditioning shops, let's say, essentially. And he's the one
If I'm mistaken, like if you wanted to do a certain thing, like if you say, hey, I want to create this workflow, like he'll create that workflow for you.
Yeah. And someone to call to fix problems and stuff. I would never, maybe Austin can because he's from the tech world, or Ryan figured it out too. But you could do it on your own with the CRM system, or you could just pay somebody to do it. I mean, those are always the two choices in life, really.
Yeah, and I think we should do some more stuff with like teaching you guys how to do stuff like that. If you do go the route of trying to do it yourself, it's pretty, once you gain access to it and understand it, it's pretty simple. So like maybe tweaking small things is major for me. Like doing the most advanced stuff, I'd pay somebody to do that stuff at the end of the day, and then the small things you just tweak it. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
No. Apparently Restore Effects is coming out with some kind of a CRM. Do you guys know anything about that?
I think we heard about it. I have no idea the ins and outs of what they're doing, who they're using. I would hope they use Go High Level. I think we gave them that advice. I'm like, if you're going to build a CRM, use Go High Level because most people are going to start to get that in the industry. And if it works, it'll be easy to jump from one to one. But
yeah, I don't know anything about it. No one's asked me for my opinion, and I'll refrain from giving it here on the podcast.
Yep. I tie it into the marketing side as well to go worth it effectively because they white label some solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Well, that's something.
True.
Maybe on the next podcast or something, maybe we can have a conversation more in depth on the CRM systems. That'd be great.
Yeah. So Austin,
we've done it. We can do it again.
You have a good sales flow over there. So can you tell us what you have going on with that?
So, and I'll talk from on the dent side and first for us, it just, as that comes. So when the customer's coming in today, now being up here in Wisconsin, we have shitty weather. Like tomorrow we have a chance of hail, and then we have 6 inches of snow all on the same day. It's hilarious. So with that being said, so as it comes through is I haven't done the form right then. So in my retail facility, it's still a paper copy for as people are capturing their information initially. But when we get out there with the vehicle using the iPad, depending on the severity of the damage, because we have so many customers that are walking in, it's sometimes we're 6 customers deep at times, which is incredible. When I was talking with somebody about that during the real busy seasons, is you start going through, then you start walking through the sales process. We start going through, we get there, open up mobile tech, we start capturing, we get their information populated. Then from there, we start walking through the damage. And as it comes to that sales process, the biggest thing that we really start is building that rapport with the customer. And not just oh yeah, that dent sucks. That's an awful location. Or, hey, this scratch in your paint is awful. And go right to solutions. Is you start making them feel comfortable. And that's been one thing that I've really started emphasizing. We start bridging those connections with that customer. So then they feel you're building this trust. Then as you start to go through, you start talking through, and you get the emotional hook with the customer. Now, when you get that emotional hook, they start going through. You got that trust. Now you can start measuring your damage. That's there. Start talking through and understanding is what is the customer looking for? Because too many times you have customers that are coming in, whether it's from the Restore FX side, a ceramic coating side, the dent repair side, a touch-up side, wheel repair, or PPF, but you don't know what the customer's looking for. They just show up at your shop. They might be asking for perfection, and you can't deliver perfection. Or, hey, they don't want perfection. That's why they're coming through for some very severe damage. You start going through, you start walking through the anatomy of what the repair process is going to be very quickly. I've gone away from drawing on cars when we're going in an estimate process, walking through there. I might do it on a window, talking through, but I start do it right there with customer with mobile tech open as it goes through, so they can see the factors that I'm not just licking my thumb and saying, hey, this is what this is how much it's going to cost. $479.28, and start walking through what does this look like. So then I get their buy-in. I said, so this is considered a body line. The damages across through the body line, the condition across the paint. This is what you're going to need to do. By the way, can you roll down your window? Let's look to see what type of glass it is, even if I know it's a laminate glass. So the customer is then telling you the factors as it goes through. You get them actually, can you, as I'm typing, can you just grab that ruler and grab the measurement for me? How many inches is that damage? And the ruler has the pricing factors all priced right on there. I also started at the next round of rulers I make is going to have the auto recon side from the paint touch up and Restore FX on there. So I can see that pricing right there. So we're not just pulling out of my ass again.
Yeah, that's huge.
And now, so then I've taken this to the next level with that. As I build that hook, it's been nothing for customers to get that emotional attachment, to see the trust. And I start talking through solutions. I start referencing, on this pearl white paint, we can do the touch up here. I got a new system that's just arrived on Monday. We haven't opened up the box
buddy.
yet. Yeah, can't wait to try this. Is to go through and it's like, okay, this is what it looks like. This is what your options are. Just got the letter April 8th or something. Paint is going up another 6%. Paintworks, one of my body shops got that. So I start talking through the solutions, start giving them, positioning myself where I want to be. And my favorite is when I start positioning myself above the body shop side and start talking through why they want to choose us from the value, the speed, all those right selling points. Now you really got that connection. They start saying, and I go, as I said, here's the estimate walkthrough. Let's get you scheduled in. And by the way, I have loaners available if it works for you to make this ease for the drop off. But here's the kick. The kick. My favorite is, do you know somebody else that has damage similar to yours? Why don't you send them my way? I asked for that referral before even getting the job. As that goes through, and it's been very successful that way from a sales process, and then that's on the dent side. So now I've been doing something. I've been running a very specific ceramic coating campaign that has just exploded. I started this February 10th. So we're 5 weeks into this right now. It has absolutely exploded. Part of that is we're going through and just, it's one thing to be reaching out to the customers digitally, but we're reaching out digitally and calling the customers, pulling them in for those inspections and working the upsell. That saying, call the damn leads. It actually is really effective, even more so, with how many people like texting or emailing back and forth from a sales side.
Yep.
Wow.
I think a lot of times, and you like maybe kind of said it, but didn't say it specifically, is like almost every customer that I'm dealing with on a sales basis, I'm basically saying like, hey, you and I are partners on trying to get this car fixed. Basically, here's all the options. Doesn't matter to me which one you choose, but I got all these different options. You and me are just going to try to figure out what's the best option for the vehicle that fits within your budget, that fixes the time frame, etc. And I take that approach a lot of times. That way it's not me selling against them. Like I'm trying to take their money and they're trying not to give it to me. But it's just like, we have this thing here that's broken. I'm the one that can fix it. Here's the choices. Which one do you want to choose? And I take that approach, and it seems to help quite a bit.
And to just smile. As much as I just told my wife the other day or today, we were talking, and I said, I hate people. As it goes through, and she goes, you don't hate people. I said, yeah, but when you see me smiling all through, it's probably because I hate what I'm talking about or walking through with somebody. And that's one of the things is, we actually did a little bit of this testing. It is, when we have a technician looking at something, sometimes as technicians can be very gruff talking through with things. I just said, and we had a week, things were just, every problem you could have. You had a day of Monday damage coming through the shop. And I just paused. I said, let's try the next couple of interactions. But can you just smile and force a smile as you start talking through? And you see that difference of that body language as it's coming through. Similar type stuff. And that just helped across the sales process. The whole psychology of the sale and the body language across things is so important.
Do you do estimates any time of the day, Ryan, Pete, Austin, like any hours, like when you schedule it, or do you book them in chunks?
No,
they just come in.
with us, it's just when they show up, my guys are all trained to kind of go out, and we built the Mobile Tech RX, and and they just kind of go out, and if I'm not there, then one of my guys, though, they're all trained to kind of go out and go over the services that we offer.
Do you do them all, Austin, or you have guys do it too?
I try to not estimate as much as I can.
Yeah. No, for sure.
From a time standpoint for myself, but no, I do when I'm available, I estimate. But we do. I mean, my favorite is when I pull in the parking lot. I'm there at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, and the first customer's already pulling in at 7:45 because they want to be the first estimate coming through, and they're waiting. When it's hail, when we get hail or stuff, we schedule in estimates. When we're calling the leads, we schedule in, and I'm not even calling them. I've been in the last week. I've been moving from using the word estimate to inspection.
That's so much better.
I'm trying to make that conscious shift, and I also have to. I'm working on my marketing side, and my QR codes I'm sending out is let's schedule your inspection that way. Because then I can work through. If I say the word estimate, I've been finding people are locked into only that one service and numbers to where let's schedule inspection. And I've been testing this myself before I start to go implement this. Okay, let's schedule your inspection. Now let's look across the vehicle. Now we can see what menu of services applies to where we can go from.
Right, and that's the same thing. Like I said,
important.
like we're partnering. You and I are partners now. Me and Austin, you and Austin, you and your customer. We're partners on getting this car fixed, and I love that. I'm absolutely switching that tomorrow at work. Estimates out, inspections in for sure.
I'm doing it in my marketing right now.
Yeah.
I just had to prove something, and I had to go to the guy, my marketer thing on it for the printer. I said, remove the word estimate. Let's use inspection. And then that's when they went through and they started to realize, they're like, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's good.
But then
For sure.
it's that upsell side. My favorite is when the customers are coming in. I'm primarily a PDR shop, which I've never hid that fact across it, and things
It's
go.
Dent Clinic, right?
Yep, as that goes through, and as that pulls through, the amount of the upsell opportunities, I can't wait to be tracking this, to actually go through from this initial form, and especially Ryan, I'm going to steal your form. I'm going to want a copy of this as it goes through.
Yeah, I want a copy of this too, please. That'd be wonderful.
I can send it to you through Go High Level pretty easy. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
that'd be great.
That'd be great, because now we can go through. Now what does this allow you to do? This allows you to capture what did the customer initially come in for, and you can track against what was the actual services that were scheduled. Now, what does that allow you to do? It allows you to work on a sales commission side for the technician, your estimator, who's ever working through on the upsell process. Now you can track how many upsells did you get.
Right. Yeah, that's killer.
I actually attached it to our website as well, so I'm looking at it now. I'll see if I can send it to you guys.
Be great.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Well, you come to these things. Yeah, it's
We
beautiful.
all
I think. Yeah, exactly. That's the goal there for sure. Customer contact form. I'm implementing that. I've heard it before, but for some reason never stuck. But I definitely need to do that because I spent a lot of time just chatting with the customer when I could say, "Hey, just go ahead and fill out the form." When you're done in a few minutes, we'll chat. That'd be way better, for sure.
Well, and plus,
Like
the one thing, I don't know if anybody else has started to experience this yet. Customers have become very impatient, and you start rushing your sales process.
That's true. Yeah.
And what happens anytime that anybody's had to go to a doctor? What do you have to do? You have to sit there and fill out freaking paperwork. So
Even though you've done it every time. Yeah.
Yeah, even if I've already been there.
Yeah. And electronically is just better because then either there's two options. Either I sit there and ask them all their information and put it in myself, or they can fill it out. That'll be interesting too, because once Shop Launch and Mobile Tech RX integrate, then Shop Launch being the Go High Level, when they become a contact in Go High Level, they'll also become a contact in Mobile Tech RX. It'll be a two-way sync process. So when they make an appointment at the shop and they come in and I go to make an estimate, their contact and all their information will already be in there, which will be really cool. So that'll be interesting on the form side, how we would do that, but we'll figure that out for sure. Edgar, Mauricio, Dane, you guys want to add anything on sales process? They're hiding.
They're showing muted on my end.
Yeah, they are, but they asked if they unmute, they can talk
Oh,
whenever.
okay.
Mauricio's got great ideas. What's up, Mauricio?
So I mean, as far as by the way, I like what you guys have been saying, and I'm gonna look into one of like those programs, because at the moment we use this other one. It's called Shop Monkey. It was originally made for mechanics, and they've tweaked it for other automotive guys, but it's mainly focused still towards the mechanic side.
And this is a CRM.
Yeah. But as far as like estimates go, kind of the same thing as I think one of you guys said. Just as they come, people call, they're like, "Hey, we want to do this." I'm like, "Hey, we got some time today. Why don't you come by to the shop?" And they're like, "Yeah, I was thinking about that. We got some time, lunchtime, whatever this." So we try to get them in the door as much as we can. That way we can go ahead and do the estimate, or rather the inspection, like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to get them into the door as much as we can. Same thing you know, using the iPad. That way they can see, you know, it's kind of like transparency. You know, they see that it's not just me writing down on some, you know, scratching on some paper like, oh yeah, you know, we can do this for $50. And then next time they come around, you know, I say 70, they're like, wait, you said 50 before. So that way they kind of see that, you know, there is a system in place. With set prices, obviously, you know, we can give discounts as we want to, you know, kind of entice them a little bit more. But you know, showing them the system itself, taking pictures as we're going and as we're doing the inspection. I always do that, and I always try to encourage everybody, like Carlos and the other guys in the shop, to just take pictures then and there. Like, yeah, we might not get this job in the door today, but at least we, you know, if they say yes, we have an idea. Everybody has an idea of what the job is already. So it's not just me trying to brief them on, oh yeah, I saw this car 2 weeks ago. It's got a scratch here and this. So like on the actual software, there's a, you know, there's inspection modes. So you just hit, you know, initial inspection, and so just hit that, and then I've gone in there and broken it down to where, like, what, depending on what you're going to inspect, that's where you upload the pictures. So they're already there. So if you want to see the hood, you just hit the hood side, driver side, all that good stuff. But definitely taking pictures has actually helped me close a lot of stuff, like close a lot of deals. And then doing the measurements, same thing. Like, obviously I don't do PDR, but, you know, measuring the scratches, kind of seeing the depth of them, gauging the clear coat. That way I know, yes, I can work it. No, you know, even RestoreFX can't fix this. That way I can give them a better idea of, you know, set expectations. And, you know, just being completely honest and transparent with them, that's really what's helped, you know, close a lot of the deals out. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm passing like a whole industrial zone.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
But let me see.
Yeah, taking pictures is huge. It's a rule for us if we're gonna create a estimate. It doesn't sound like you're using Mobiletech or X Mauricio, which is fine, but you're using ShopMonkey. But every estimate we do now, whether it's RestoreFX, scratches, or PDR, we're putting pictures in there every time now.
Yeah, I think it makes not only does it look good on you, but it actually helps as far as like the shop flow, you know, just efficiency. It just helps to know exactly what you're going to be working on, what you're going to be doing.
Yep. For
But
sure.
that's, I mean, really, I mean, there's nothing crazy different that, you know, there's nothing that we do that you guys haven't said already. You know, just going out there again, trying to get people in, and really just trying to get, you know, people to go ahead and book it. You know, either whether that be that week or a few days out.
Absolutely.
I find
Nice.
with us, like RestoreFX, the best tool is take out a paper towel and some pink prep with you, and
See if it covers it.
that's, you know, that it's, I always tell the customer, this is what it's going to mimic, what your end result's going to look, and it kind of sets their expectation, and that way they're like, yeah, I can live with that. Or, you know, if it's not going to cover, then it's not going to cover. And so that's kind of our, I mean, obviously we go through everything, our sales process with it, but that seems to be majority of the people that are coming in is they've got damage and they want to know, you know, can it fix this scratch? And so we'll the pink, and then it kind of gives them the idea and helps us. You know, I never try to tell them 100%. We always, you know, even if we know it's going to be 100%, we'll just tell them, you know, it'll be between 85, 90%. And then, just, you know, when they pick it up, usually it's good, you know, but that seems to be the best option as far as trying to set, because a lot of times they don't know what it's going to look like. And if we wipe it with pink, it kind of, they can see what the end result's going to be like.
That's true. That's a good tip for RestoreFX for sure. We do that on dealer lots as well sometimes, just to make sure as well. But yeah, retail, just wipe on half the door and be like, this is what it'll look like. Just take me a day, make it permanent. For sure. Yeah, that's killer. Love that. Anything else you want to add on sales flow or on sales process before I know we're kind of touching both, but I got some ideas for workflow that I've started to implement I think will be helpful. Try to keep it tight at an hour if we can. Man, so like 2 years ago, it was like I might just one guy in the shop doing a car, and then maybe we do a Restore FX car. But now there's a lot of days where we have like 12 cars in our possession, and so I realized that shop flow is super important. And just communication, like Austin said, like, well, Mauricio said pictures, just so you don't have to be like, hey, I saw this one 2 weeks ago. Here's what I told them, blah, blah. So with every estimate now with inside of Mobile Tech RX, we are putting pictures in there, and then we are inside of the note section. I'm writing what we said, basically. Like, I promised this, or some, not every dent's the same. Not every dent is bring it in, R&I everything, make it perfect, right? Sometimes the customer chose not to replace the part, or sometimes they chose for a 90% because they didn't want to, do a bunch of R&I, or they didn't want to spend the money or whatever. So pictures and notes in every single one. And then I've just started basically now with the window cran, like kind of like a body shop does. They have that little sticker on the front. I think I might get some of those stickers basically to just put some basic information on there. One is customer expectations. Two is going to be delivery date promised, price of repair, if there's any parts on order, etc. Just so we can all look at that window sticker. And just for 5 guys in a shop with sometimes between like 8 to 12 cars, some staying overnight, some dropped off for the day, some customers waiting. Just so I don't have to communicate. They don't have to ask me, what'd you say about this? Like, look at the sticker, like whoever's whether it's me that's at the front desk area writing that, or someone else takes the vehicle and has drop off and they take it from Mobile Tech Rex and write it on there or something. We need to start creating that as a process, even though sometimes it feels like it's too much, but on the days when we have a massive amount of cars coming in and we're continuing to grow, I feel like that stuff is becoming more and more necessary. So, that's a big one for me.
That's critical.
Instead of the window thing, the Corden brothers, when they were here last year for some hail, they showed us what they did on like massive hailstorms, and it works in any
packet system.
Yeah, we had a clear packet, and then we print the work order and the estimate, and then we have a text sheet that has all that information on it, like customer expectations. Obviously, you have the price, all that good stuff. And it's in a packet, so whenever they sign off on it at the end, like at the end of the job, the technician has to sign off on that text sheet. It's letting him know that he looked over all this stuff, and everything is where it's supposed to be. So when they hand the packet and the keys up front, and it's ready to be, delivered to the client, everybody's held liable, So, and if something happened, if they broke a clip or whatever, all that stuff goes.
You said you fixed this. Yeah.
So
it's just accountability, because you don't want to sit and blame a bunch of people, but it's just like we're all trying to give a good product to the customer. So it's like you signed off on it, just don't sign off on shit unless it's done. Basically, it's simple conversation then, right? Should be at least.
And mobile, it's crazy because Mobile Tech RX actually has a lot of that stuff built into Mobile Tech, just nobody utilizes any of it. So
the checklist. Like there's a lot of times like you can't turn a work order into an invoice unless you did this checklist item.
So I did
7
that
checklist item. Yeah.
We want after photos of every dent that we do. We should already have befores from outside doing the photos or inside doing photos. So before the technician can take it from a work order to an invoice, it'll prompt them to take after photos so they don't forget it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm just like, it bugs me to print out a bunch of shit and put it like physically in a car for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not necessarily like anti using paper or like trees or whatever, but just like, I don't know.
I agree. That's why I try to find, like, I'm trying to work more with Mobile Tech RX to like refine that system.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd be curious to see, just to make that be more of a process, is like, write on the window what it needs, or write on a thing what it needs, and then the rest inside Mobile Tech RX. I'll have to put some thought into that and figure out, especially once I start implementing, because the goal is like when the CRM system and the Mobile Tech RX talk together, then everything we'll be doing will be inside of Mobile Tech RX. So when the customer drops off and they turn it from estimate to work order, that's going to prompt the customer. And then so that means my techs will have if they are communicating with the customer properly, they're going to have to follow each of the steps. They're going to have to create an estimate. They're going to have to click the green check mark for the estimate. They're going to have to turn it into a work order. They're going to have to do the work. But within that, you could put the checklist inside of Mobile Tech RX. Like, in order to do this, did you, like, if you try to take an estimate and turn it into work order, it'll pop up and say, you know, you didn't put a picture in it, so you can't make a work order. So you gotta go back, gotta put a picture, then you can make a work order. Like, you can just basically force their hand.
Is anybody using the checklist from Restore Effects from the back portal?
No.
So we used to use it on paper, kind of like what you were talking about with the little sheets.
Yeah, the packet and the card.
Yeah, so we used to do that when we first started. Now we just use kind of like I think Mobile RX has it, but ShopMonkey, same thing. What you were talking about, has a checklist that you can use. Honestly, the biggest thing though is consistency, and like the fact that you like. I have to enforce it, right? Because there was a moment where like we, just like the paper, we started it, but then slowly but surely people just, you know, they stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And then of course we always use the excuse, oh, we're so busy, I didn't realize it. And then next thing you know, you have a complaint because something didn't get done, or it didn't meet the expectation, or I forgot to, you know, tell them or communicate like, hey, you know, this door is the mission, the rest of the car is just a bonus. So it's just, I think it's more just being on top of it, making sure that you're actually consistently using it. And then if there's a way that, kind of like you said it, where you can force them to do it because like it won't let them move on, then I think that'd be really good.
So
and you get paid based off of closed invoices. So if you can't turn them into closed invoices, then thanks for working for free.
I took the Restore Effects checklist and I put it into
inside of Mobile Tech RX.
I put it into Mobile Tech RX, so the guys couldn't take it from work orders to invoicing without doing the checklist. And if they just go in and start checking stuff, and then you go out there and check that specific car, and something's, you know, there's an issue with it. Well, you did the checklist, so why, you know, it's definitely, accountability is huge. So the more we can get away from paper, I'm on the same thing with that, Corey. I just
it's just slower, and you know, it's just, I don't know,
it's just an extra step that you have to do in the front office when you can automate it, you know.
And we talk about growing business and stuff, and like I have a hard time. It's been getting easier for me as my business has grown a little bit, but you have, like, if we want to continue to grow a business, and Austin's doing the same thing, Ryan, you are too, like, you have to have these systems already in place, like, or else you can't grow. And the problem is, like, the reason why sometimes we grow a lot slower than we want is because we don't put these systems in place. So we get a little bit bigger, and then we get knocked down with efficiency because we don't have any of these systems in place. And so does it feel dumb some days when, like, because there's some days where I have one PDR tech in the shop, and he's like, why would I fucking put a packet on every car and right on the window when I'm doing everything? Because that's how we do it. Because the day that we have 4 guys in there doing stuff, because none of them mobile and they're all in the shop, then we have to do it. So part of it is like doing it just because it's the principle of it, and doing it so that when we do grow, or when we do hire the next person, or when we do bring in someone else for that hailstorm or whatever, they follow that process, everything runs smoothly.
Or if you sell your business, it's like you go to McDonald's, and if they didn't have all the checklists and
exactly.
You can hear flipping burgers on fries at the wall.
Yeah. So that leads a great lead in. So it's a 2-part thing, what you just mentioned. You know, the other thing that I'm starting to go through is actually creating SOPs for everything.
Yes.
Because I'll be honest, I ran into an issue last May when I had essentially 4 hail sites going on at once. And I couldn't be everywhere. And as that starts to go through, then you start creating the SOPs. Then you can start plugging and playing people in there. You create a consistent experience. That's something I'm really starting to dive into. I'm starting to ask a lot more people out there in the industry what kind of, if they've already created any that I can leverage across different things, you know, gather these better practices on things to learn from what's working well, what isn't. Because what my country way of doing things is going to be different than anybody else's, you know, and remember, because I'm not a tech. So and doing the actual work. So I'm looking at this from a process standpoint, because the more flow that I can create, the more it creates a streamline. It creates professionalism. But with that flow is you create the standardization, and the more that moving away from pen and paper to digital experience is great. So like I have a full blown CCC subscription. And one of the biggest things that from the hailstorm that we started going through is you create that whole window sticker and packet of information right then and there, and that workflow, everything associated with that. And when customers, when they come in, drop off the vehicle, they see that, you check it in, you already elevated yourself to an experience that they weren't expecting that way.
Yeah.
So I go through a lot of toner and printer ink. That's expensive,
Yeah,
but
it's expensive.
it helps.
Austin, I think you'll like this, but I'm like doubling two screens and I'm looking at Mobile Tech RX on the back portal. I doubt anybody's using time tracking, but Corey, you would like this as well. You have 4 different techs in your shop, right?
I can.
Okay.
Have up to 4 different techs, yes.
So their capability, same thing with us. We have 3 techs and 4 techs at the same time. I'm trying to train the front office on like a $1,000 job comes in. How long is that going to take so we can have a good day where it's like there's no lapse and
yes,
time, right? So
yes.
I'm thinking like using the time tracking for each individual technician to find out like how long does it take you to do a $1,000 job compared to another technician, to where if Reed's one of my guys, if Reed has an availability, we can run all this data at the end of the day or the end of the year and say, one, how long it takes to do certain jobs at certain prices, and 2, how much money are we making per hour, with this technician. I think there's a big key to that.
Don't even get me started
Dude,
on
that's
that path,
that's the hardest part.
because the biggest thing when it comes to that is then you have to do you take technicians that don't like having being tracked or being managed across things, to now you have to start, you have to clock into each job. So if they were a flat rate, or towards that job, that makes sense. But when it's just, a commission based structure, it's going to be more steps. But if you start doing that as a step in the process, I think they would like that.
Well, that
You're
process.
talking about there's the time management inside of Mobile Tech RX where you can click when you start.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had one tech last year. He was using multiple timers across as he's doing his hail repairs, just so he can see if he can beat his own personal best times on a $850 rail.
Yeah, same thing with Restore Effects. I mean, I think that it can be utilized in Restore Effects to find the amount of actual time people are working. Yes, it's an extra step for the guys, but they need to understand like we need this data as business owners to be able to make their days successful. It's not like we're giving them this extra step so we can find out if they're working or not working. It's more or less like how many more cars can we fit in an entire year, knowing how long it takes you to do a specific job, right?
Right.
Well, then you go into the stage, across each step of the process. You look at it from the Restore FX side is when you're actually starting to do planning, and when you start thinking about what does that workflow look like, how many vehicles across the difference, if everybody needs X, A, B, and C, this is, you got that standardized time. Now that planning side, the scheduling side of this is going to get so much better. But who knows? You're going to have to start working that through in the estimate side. And Mobile Tech, we all know, won't ever get there. So, as you start adding in the hours to the job to do a time, you take something from a dollars to a time-based study. Now that's when you really start to effectively plan and utilize your resources.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, I'm pretty much just like $1,500 to $2,000 a day per tech. That's pretty much, that's like my, for PDR tech, that's like my rule of thumb, basically. Right. Some days are more, some days are less. It's really hard because sometimes you get a $1,000 job that's a home run. Sometimes you get a $1,000 job that you get stuck on. So that's tough. Yeah. And R&I doesn't pay as well as PDR per hour, but they're mixed into the same thing. You're going to clock in for R&I and then clock in for PDR. Is that how that works?
I don't know. I'm gonna dive into it a little bit and find out.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, you would clock in. Basically, you'd hit the timer for RNI, and then you'd stop that and then hit the timer for precedent per service,
Well,
right? So that'd be interesting.
I tried the workflow out on the hailstorm side, and I just couldn't. I just had some very idiot techs I couldn't figure the hell out, so I scrapped that.
Yeah,
But that's again when the SNOP comes into play.
yeah,
They also
exactly,
couldn't
yeah.
figure out how to invoice, which is
That's a whole different. That's a whole different story.
I'm charging techs 5% to invoice now when I'm bringing in subs.
Yeah, if you have to do it, you charge them. You pay them less. Yeah, like here's the rate for just PDR. Here's the rate for PDR plus invoicing, for sure, 100%.
Correctly
No doubt about
invoiced.
that.
That's a whole separate issue.
Correctly invoice, yes, correctly invoice. But I think the checklist I got. Once we sync those two systems up together, I really do want to add those checklists in, for sure.
You guys have an idea for Restore Effects, your technicians on, like, what do you guys want them? You guys kind of got the dent side streamlined, but like,
It's the same thing. I mean, you can implement everything we do with Bents into Restore Effects, like the checklist we're talking about, whether you do it on paper or you figure out how to do it in Mobile Tech or X. I utilize that for the Restore guys, just so it was more for them to like not forget things like the steps. It's even the steps on prepping cars. I had an issue the other day where I walked in the back and I'm actually having to install some Restore Effects now because we lost some guys, but I saw stuff going differently with the way the Restore was acting and with these panels. So I asked them, can I see how you prep this panel? And somewhere along the line, they just started prepping differently and it wasn't acting right with the Restore Effects stuff, right? So with that, I like checklists and even like, I would say quarterly or monthly training stuff to just make sure the guys are not taking, they don't understand how crucial every step is in the prep process of Restore Effects. Like they think it's like, oh, okay, I can not use 2 towels to do the last wipe and I could just use 1. I can save a little bit of time and then I get to sit on a bucket for the rest of the time, right? Stuff like that. And then the checklist for me was huge because the end result for retail jobs was I don't want to be in front of a customer returning the car and they have Restore Effects on the headlight or on one of the moldings or they miss these spots of touch up and stuff like that. So whenever you have those checklists, it makes everybody held accountable for that, for every single the repair process.
what I've kind of done with my guys is once they're done coating to go around and after they peel the tape before they leave for the night is go around and see if there's any Restore Effects on any plastic trim. It comes off so much easier
right
the day before,
next morning, right? So it just takes that extra 5 minutes just to kind of go around the vehicle, make sure it's not on any plastic trim or anything, and that way the next morning you're not sitting there scrubbing. Then you end up distorting the plastic trim because they're rubbing too hard, and so that's something that we implemented.
Yeah, all that stuff. Anything you can do to save time works, especially for the workflow for the shop. But that's conversations with the guys. I mean, it is pretty rough, installing Restore Effects and the prep work and all that stuff. I can see the guys getting, laxed at the end of the day. So we just trying to keep these guys on their toes to understand how serious that is, right? Like getting Restore Effects off the day after it's been installed should be like a company policy. That shouldn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So even, I mean, SOPs like what Ryan's saying.
Austin.
I'm sorry, I have a friend named Ryan Austin, so I'm sorry. When the Cordons were here, they didn't want to leave here until I was like at least starting to finish the SOPs for the business, and it's excruciating. It's not
so terrible.
But it just saves your butt and it'll help you grow, just like having a CRM or systems in place to the SOPs are something that I think every company should have.
Well, it adds credibility to your company too, right? It's nice. It's when you're not there or somebody new comes in, there's, you.
It helps with the hiring process most of all. It's like whenever you hire
Yep.
somebody, it's like part of the packet that they get. They have SOPs for prep techs, right? And that I feel like those prep techs and the labor side of it, even dem techs having SOPs for them. When they get hired, they understand like what their job duty is. That it's black and white. There's no like, you didn't tell me I needed to do that, right?
Which is true sometimes because you're
It's
like,
all-
I can't remember everything.
It happens.
I've gone off and on this over time, but as far as workflow goes, are you guys doing like I mean, assuming Ryan and Austin and Pete, you guys are at the shop majority of the days. So if you're there running the show or steering the ship, are you doing like a little huddle, like a little daily? Here's what's up.
We talk about doing it all the time. And I'll say that's just as important as SOPs is to at least get the guys in the morning time. I try to get everybody here 30 minutes early so we can have a quick meeting to say, look, this is what we got. We might have these fires coming in today, just so everybody's aware of what's going
Yeah.
on that day. Because we all hate, getting stuff thrown in our face and then trying to figure it out because you're constantly trying to plan your day. Whether it's you're going to step out to eat lunch or you're going to have to eat lunch at the shop, just random stuff that we as business owners forget.
Well, I mean, for me, like sometimes I'm at the shop and then I leave because if I'm not really processing as many cars, or I try to process no cars. That's on me though. I just need to back off probably, but I try to process very few cars. So I show up in the morning, I do the thing, I do a quick huddle. I'm like, hey, here's all the appointments. Like, look at the calendar. I'm like, we got this guy, this is this. We got this guy, this is this. We got this guy. This girl's coming in. We broke a molding last week. We're getting it replaced, whatever it happens to be. And then, in theory, my goal is I should show up in the morning, should do what I need to do, check the mail, get the checks, do the things, give the huddle. And if I need to leave to go out to sell, to meet with someone else, to do whatever I got to do, in theory, shit should work. says every business owner ever. And so I've been doing the huddle more often, and that's like as far as outside of the checklist, outside of the SOPs, outside of all that stuff, that should be like daily operation. But then or that should be like a given. But then on the daily operation, it should be like, hey, here's one, here's what's already coming in. Two, here's what may be happening. Here's what could happen. Here's the stuff we need to push out or whatever. Trying to get better about that. And it's like I'm pretty anti-meeting. I grew up in the blue collar world. I went to the white collar where people have meetings that are fucking worthless. I work in a really nice area where 90% of the people that are my neighbors work from home, and they do meetings all day long that are literally pointless. So my meetings, I try to make them like legitimately 5 minutes. I'm like, everybody come here, put your shit down, come here. Okay, here's the deal. This. You have anything for me? No? Okay, go. That's it. I don't know if that's good or bad though.
No, any type of communication, like I think we all lack in that. I mean, at least I do for sure, is just communication in general.
You're like, how did you not just do it right? The way it's supposed to be done.
I think the hardest thing for us guys is we were always, for the longest time, we were one-man shows. We didn't, everything stayed up here and you figured it
got done.
It was so now it's like we think of things, but sometimes we forget to tell our employees and oh, hey, so-and-so's kind of stopped by, and all of a sudden I'll get a call and it's like, so-and-so's here dropping off a car. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But what we've been doing is after everybody gets in the morning and the cars are touched up, everything's done, they're ready to be delivered. We got a whiteboard. Everybody kind of hits the whiteboard, and then we kind of break down, okay, who's going where to pick up, drop off what car, pick up what.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And there's also a calendar along with the whiteboard. So, retail, wholesale, body shop work, everything's all on there. So, okay, we got a car coming from the body shop that we got a ceramic. They painted 3 panels. We got a ceramic it for them. And just so, same thing like what you said, Corey. It's like a 5-minute. Hey, this is what's going on.
Should be.
Could
Yeah,
be,
that should be it.
and that's it. And then throughout the day, if I get calls, you know, I'll call my lead guy and I'll just say, hey, just so you know, somebody's dropping off, whatever.
Yeah. I'd challenge you to try to turn that digital too, for sure, if possible. I mean, whiteboards, I like whiteboards. We have whiteboard. We rarely use it just because, like, if you wanted to step away, Pete, and work from home or be out doing sales or do whatever, could you monitor from afar? You know, is it possible? Maybe it's not, but just a thought.
Well, I think it's what your guys are used to, right? Like if everybody was into the digital, then we can push the digital, and that might be an option. I don't know. We've just been using the whiteboard. It just seems to make sense. Sometimes I have a hard enough time for them to just do their work orders.
Yeah, for sure.
Some days are good, and some days it's like just shake your head. Guys, this is what we do every day.
Yep. Austin said he's got a TV for workflow. I know a couple guys that are doing that. I know a lot of bigger shops are doing that. Just the TV up there with the workflow. It's digital. It's linked up to whatever it is, your CRM system, Tech or X, whatever it happens to be. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. I as much as I look at the workflow, I want to basically, like, if someone asks me a question, one of my guys, whether I'm there or not there, in theory, in a perfect world, I'd be like, look at the TV, look at the workflow, look at the work orders. Like, you shouldn't be asking me that question because it's already answered. So instead of texting me, look in the appropriate place and it should be there. That's where I'm like constantly trying to get things to on a daily basis, really. Last topic I want to talk about is communication. Do you besides Daily Huddle, I brought that up, but do you guys, if you are off site or in the back or somewhere else or out doing sales or meeting somebody, do you guys just have a group text? Do people text you individually? Do you have a Slack line? Like, what have you guys have implemented for that?
We got a group text for everybody. So that's got to communicate with each other. Everything goes for the text for the.
And I think that works for like 5, 6, 7, 8 people. 5, 6, 7, 8 people ish. I think it's fine. I don't think there's a problem with that. That's what we do. I don't know if there's a better way. But it's like some guys don't need to be in the text thread when you're talking to one person, but it's just better if they know, I guess. So just like deal with it.
Well, the reason why I like doing it on the group text is if everybody in the shop will see it. So hopefully if the one guy forgets, the other ones will remind them, or they'll do, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just gives accountability to everybody instead of just putting everything on one person.
Yes, for sure. All right, I like that. Mauricio, Edgar, Dan, you guys want to add anything to Flow, Shop Flow? What's up, dude?
What's going on? Recently, same thing as you guys. Recently, especially since I've been working more remote, at this point haven't really been too much in the shop because I've been up in Philadelphia now, just taking care of my wife and some stuff up here. But pretty much what I've implemented in the past couple of weeks is I do a kind of like a 5 to 15 minute quick brief, like I call it the morning report in the morning. So like I literally like 30 minutes before any of the guys get there, I get on Shop Monkey, which is pretty much like, similar like what your guys' stuff looks like. And just kind of prep my side of everything. So as soon as the guys get there, we literally just jump on a quick call where I can see everybody. And I'm like, hey, this is what we got coming in. Carlos has the calendar and everything in the office, so he can also see it. But and basically I've given all the guys some iPads. I have like older iPads that I don't use anymore, so literally just spread them out over here. I'm like, everybody has an iPad now, and so everybody look at it real quick. We'll go over everything. I'll send before I even like call them up. I'll send it. I have a group message on WhatsApp with them where I'll just give them basically everything that's on the calendar up to that point, and everybody's kind of little like mini tasks, so that they can remember. And obviously everything is in depth on the actual CRM, but like in the actual system, it's in depth. But I have little widgets, so right. So like if I need like today they had a 2007 Nissan Titan. I was like, hey, I'm like, I put a little asterisk on Andres's name because he's the one working on it. I'm like, hey, check the notes that I left for you on there. So he'll actually have to go in there and look at it. And we'll just go through everything. If
Is this like a print? Is this like a written thing or like a quick video or what? How are you doing in the morning?
So I literally just call them off of WhatsApp. So we just like literally it's just a FaceTime basically.
All of them at once.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like a Zoom, FaceTime, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just, obviously like whenever I was there, and like whenever I am there in person, we have it in the morning. Just we get around the lobby and we just kind of talk about it. But since whenever I'm up here, we just FaceTime and I'm like, hey, this is what needs to get done. And basically, obviously, once I'm done with my spiel, I was like, any comments, questions, concerns, and they'll be like, hey. And they'll just give me whatever. If they didn't put it in the notes, they'll bring it up at that point, and we'll just kind of like, try to hash it out at that point. Try to see, like, all right, it didn't work yesterday, so let's just switch it up and try a different tactic for today or whatnot. And then as the day goes on, obviously I'm the one getting all the phone. Even up here, like I'm always the one answering the phone, so I'll answer the phone, draw up the estimate on here, or tell people to go over there. And as soon as they get there, Carlos scans it in, and I'm on the computer going ahead and putting all the services. And that way, when he goes to the computer, because he's obviously I'm a lot more tech savvy than he is. If it's up to him, he'll take like 5 minutes trying to find the service and put it on the order. So basically, what we'll do is whenever people get there to do an estimate, he'll just call me, and I'll just hang in the background, just listening to the entire conversation, and as they're talking about it, I'm just putting everything in the system so that he's just showing them that like this stuff is popping up on the computer for them. But as the day goes on, if people call me, like today, we had a couple of cars that we had to get picked up. They'll call me. I'm like, hey, sounds good. Give me about 30 minutes to an hour, and somebody will go over there. I'll call Carlos, tell him, hey, this car's got to get picked up, and I'll put it in the system, and he'll go ahead and be like, all right, cool. I can either do it, now, or give me a little bit, and I'll go ahead and go over there.
So managing digitally, whether it's with our systems or your shop, but like there's ways to do it nowadays. Basically, is what
pretty much
we're looking at. And that's what I'm trying to get to. And not that I want to never be at the shop, but I think that there's a lot of benefits to times where if I can't be at the shop, it can still be run, and then I still day to day I'm there majority of the time. But if you can do it remotely, it's better, and then you can also do it in person.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something it's something that you like. I never thought I'd be doing it. But obviously, things change, and I was always, the guy that was there 24/7, never leaving. But like it took obviously a couple different things to get me to be like, all right, I gotta change it up, and so find a way that actually makes it it actually makes sense and make it work. And honestly, we've had a lot of good success. The majority of the reason is because now I can focus on where you guys
bigger shit.
They're getting the leads. Everybody that sending an invoice or like sending in a quote, I'm able to call them now and actually get them in, versus before I'm like, man, I'll call them later. I'm doing something else. So it's definitely helped, it focus on the actual getting more people into the door.
Hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
Background on something real quick. You had mentioned a while ago about putting a sticker on the window and writing stuff on it. Is that a sticker you're thinking of, or like a cling or something like that could be?
Like a cling. Like Caliber Collisions around here have there's like a yellow version. It's got like the RO, the rider's name, etc. So I've been trying to figure out some ways to do it. I've got a couple different iterations, but I realized why Caliber Collision does it with the big sticker that's basically waterproof with the markers, because you pull stuff inside, outside, etc. But that's just for like quick view. I'm just like always trying to figure out the most efficient way to do it, and sometimes looking in Mobitech RX in the notes and all that stuff isn't the most efficient. So 1 is customer's name, 2 is price of repair, 3 is promised delivery date. And I'm just trying to figure out, I'm just starting this, I'm trying to figure out like all the criteria that's necessary to have on it. So when our shop is fairly small, but there's been days now where we'll have 12 vehicles in our possession at one time. And I'm like, they're like managing keys, managing where the car is in the shop, which one's not getting worked on that day needs to get pulled outside. And so I'm just trying to figure out the best way to give you like a quick snapshot of that, basically. Because like, let's say like I know every car in the shop, but if one of my techs isn't working on that car and it's another tech and it's parked in a certain spot, they don't know, and they'll have to Mobitech RX, they'll look through work orders and invoices to find the car, make sure it's that car. We had freaking 3 black Sportages in there the other day, so it was like they were trying to figure out which car it is so that they can figure out if that's the car that needed the part. And so it's just, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it easier. And then, hopefully I go from 12 cars to 24 cars in a couple years, and then I have to have it. You know what I mean? So I don't have an exact answer. Right, exactly. I know. Yeah, I'm sure.
Go 2 buildings that are a quarter mile from each other.
Yeah, and sometimes, people get really hesitant to grow their PDR company because they don't understand how they'll communicate and work with every customer. And I say, get a CRM system, because then you'll realize how it's possible to grow. And so sometimes I look around my shop and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? I can't even manage 12 cars and 5 people. It's because I don't have systems. So you implement the systems and then you say, okay, I could easily get to 50 cars a day. And so this is the problem. Like sometimes people get frustrated and nervous and scared to grow their company because they don't have the proper processes in place. And you're like, I can't fathom how that would work. So you implement those processes and those different things, or SOPs, whatever you want to call them, and you say, okay, now I get it. So like 2 shops right now sounds like so stressful to me, but if I had all these SOPs in place, it would probably feel a little bit less stressful. So yeah, but great point.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have an answer for that. I'm currently working on that right now. If I do have an answer, happy to share it. Another thing I didn't talk about a lot, and we're trying to end this, relatively soon here, but like Ryan said with packets, if it's an insurance claim, which I do a lot of insurance claims now, I did 100 last year. I'm on pace to do almost 200 this year, probably. No hail. I have packets for every single one of them. So on the front of the packet has all the information down. The inside goes parts receipts, first estimates, supplements, anything like that, the customer's authorization to repair, all that type of stuff. And so I have a packet for every insurance claim that I have not digitized. But now I'm wondering, do I do that for every car? It seems kind of silly to do it for a 2-inch door ding that we have in the shop for 45 minutes. So I don't. But it's either like, if it's an SOP, it's an SOP. If you make a packet for everything, you make a packet for everything. So I'm trying to balance. I'm on a call. I'm trying to balance how exactly I do that. But I do have, for insurance, that's my line. Insurance gets a packet physical that stays stays by my desk, and it's always there. But the other cars don't at this point in time.
Like the cling seems like a good idea. Like for wholesale, right? Like stick it on the window or the windshield or whatever, and then any little notes. Like we get a lot too. Like anything with black wheels. I got a couple dealerships that they're like, every time you get a car, touch up the wheels. Like I don't care. Like just make them black, right? So when car that way there, it's like, okay, I can write on that cling, hey, do the wheels.
Yeah, and that's all that stuff in your head that you should tell. That some days you have to tell your people, some days you don't. Do you write it on a whiteboard? Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, would you put it digitally inside Mobitech RX? That seems silly because they're not going to look unless you force checklist wise. So yeah, I'm like, all right, I'll just write it on the windshield. At first, I was just writing with a crayon. I was like, the stuff I would write on the side of the car with, I would just write on the windshield. But my handwriting's shitty, especially with those crayons. So,
plus, you don't get rain there. So,
you write it on a window claim with permanent marker.
Can you get them like at a print shop or something? Or
I'll
The window.
He's got a print shop. I'll see what he can do for that.
I
We
think.
like Restored Effects logo.
Yeah, I've never done the clings, like those clings you're talking about. It's like a big sticker, right? Like you space like caliber collision, essentially.
At
I
least
haven't used those.
all right. Like if you can use a dry eraser board marker on it or something that
Yeah.
I would think like a print shop or like an Office Depot or somebody might do something like that. I don't know.
So I highly recommend everybody gets a Canva subscription. It's $12 a month and it's changed my life. They have window clings.
Oh, do they?
Yep.
You could
So-
create one and like order it from the app. It's pretty
Yep, and then get a bajillion stickers printed out or whatever, and then that's probably the next thing that I'm gonna try in this iteration here.
What also can work too is you can get off the Amazon. They're called the plastic job folders. They're clear on both sides.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
you have your printed out sheet, then you can write on the outside of that, and then it just sits on the dash of the car. That works really well too.
Yeah, but
What is it? Plastic work folder?
Yep, it's a plastic job
Yeah.
folder.
Yeah. I don't even
I'm gonna see if I can find it quickly
yeah,
off
I'm
of
looking right
Amazon.
now, yeah.
You can
Yeah, I
get
see 'em.
a thing of 100. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they work great.
Yeah, I see 50-piece dry erase pockets, plastic job ticket holders, 50 for $38, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. That's Ryan's idea of basically putting it in the car with double-sided window packets. All right, so yeah, some great ideas for sure. I'm gonna be implementing. I have like 3 or 4 things that I have a meeting with the guys tomorrow, and I'm gonna bring in a couple of these things to them. Definitely our estimate. The word estimate is dead in our shop from now on. Just dead. It's gone. It's all inspection. I've said it a bunch of different times, but I've never thought I should just get rid of the word estimate because I don't know, it just never crossed my mind. But definitely gonna happen.
I agree with that too, Corey.
Yeah,
Inspection goes a lot further. Like I hate
it's just the right way.
I hate the click here for an estimate on the website. It's like I'm not going to give you an estimate.
Well, I mean, my whole freaking thing,
I'll
I
start to
don't
qualify it, but
yeah,
that's it.
and I don't want to start talking about numbers right away either. But when you say estimate, you
No.
start talking about numbers immediately.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
I didn't even realize that I was doing
Damn
that.
it, man. No,
Yeah.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
a good takeaway for sure.
Yeah, so that's huge. Customer contact form on the iPad. And then customer flow as far as we're talking about daily huddles, group text communication, Mobile Tech RX checklists, window stickers, and or clear pads inside the car. And I'm telling you, if you have 4 cars in your shop and only you and one other dude, and it seems silly, it's not going to seem silly if you're trying to grow a business and all of a sudden there's 8 or 10 cars. Because I should have done this when there was one other dude in there and I didn't, and now I'm doing it while a little bit too late. And so implementing those things now is just going to be better in the long run.
Yeah, I
So-
did the static cling window things when we had hail this past summer.
Yeah.
And it was great because I had someone doing pre and post scans. They had to mark
Mhm.
it all off, RO, the insurance company,
Yeah.
what
Yes.
body shop it was from, or if it was a retail customer or what.
Yep. For
So
sure.
it
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So it worked out good.
Yeah. And yeah, I saw those tickets or those things too. Austin sent a link in there, and it looks those are the pretty much the same ones I found. So I might have to try to implement that too. I've tried this a lot of my own cars, and I'm trying to figure out what the best way is before I go into the guys and I'm like, this is what we're doing, and then next week I'm like, never mind, this is what we're
Yeah.
doing. So I'm trying to find the right way to
Yeah.
do it before I change create an SOP and change it. Not that I'm the
Don't
best
worry,
at it.
they'll forget after 2 days anyway. So
Yeah, for right. Yeah. Hey, but hey,
Ugh.
if I'm the one flip flopping and they flip flop, who do I have to blame? Myself.
Right.
So if I can be like, this is the process, and then I can come back a week later and be like, you forgot to do it, and then we'll hammer it in. We'll get there eventually. It's like my kids with chores.
Mhm.
All right. Hour and a half. we'll wrap it
show.
up there. We'll do another one in April. Hopefully in April we'll be talking about the stuff coming out with Mobile Tech RX and Shop Launch. That will be a very big deal in the industry. And so we may talk CRM system, Mobile Tech RX integration, checklists, and commission structures. That'll be for April. So, all right.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for your input. Appreciate you all very much. Hopefully we can get
Good
more
deal.
people next month.
Yep. Thanks for
Enjoy.
sharing.
See you, Ryan.
All right, buddy. Later.
See you, Pete. Later, Austin.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Masters of Recon podcast. If you're getting value from this podcast, then please subscribe to the show and give us a review so others can find our show as well. And if you haven't joined the discussion yet, then go find us over at Masters of Recon Facebook group to join the weekly discussion. See you all next time.